Hi, everyone. I'm Anthony DiChiara, and I was just interviewed by the incredible Keith Andrew, and it was a great honor and a privilege. And keep watching him because he's doing an amazing job, and he's going to be the next big talk show host of 2019.
Keith Network. We're continuing the holiday theme of the beginning of the new year of 2019. I am your host, Keith Andrew. Along here is Anthony DiChiara. I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's an honor and a privilege, sir, and I'm happy to be here.
No, the honor's all mine. And for people who want to know what my talk show is about, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that hey, anything can happen in life. Prove to them, is there an echo in here? prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. And to prove to them you can still amount to something. I think I said that about like 4 or 5 times already. But like I said,
it's worth saying. Anything worth saying is worth repeating.
No, absolutely. Half hour, 33 minutes every time. You can say anything you want. Freedom of speech, self-expression. And the first question I want to talk about is I saw that you are an artist and a writer, and you also worked for HBO. So starting off, what can you tell us? Well, let's just stay to the easy stuff first. How was life growing up, and what did you major in?
Life growing up was fine. I don't have any horror stories. Had an average childhood. Come from a middle class family, but not privileged. We struggled like many middle class families did. My parents were first generation Italian, came here. Their parents were lucky enough to come here, and very proud to come and be Americans, and wanted the American dream for their children, and so on. So I was lucky. My father's brother, he didn't like America, and he decided he wanted to leave, and he didn't go back to Italy. He went to South America. So I have some relatives and family in South America. I've never met them, but I know they're down there. And he must have been crazy, because who would not want to stay in America? But average middle class upbringing, no horror stories. So knock on wood, I was lucky in that respect. Got a good education, and I just always had. I guess I always had this fertile imagination. And in fact, I used to get in trouble for it in school for daydreaming. But, I was always thinking ahead, thinking about things and stories and what have you. So, I never thought about, I guess I thought about being in, doing something as a writer. I loved film. I love movies, and I'm very into that. So I think part of me wanted to go into that, but because my parents came from the Great Depression and the World War II era, they were more about you have to have security. Get something with security, and so don't go into film, don't do anything like that. So I started working for a Fortune 500 company, right out of college. In fact, the Fortune 500 company paid for my college, so I worked full time and I went to school part time. And it wasn't until I almost graduated with a business degree that I figured out, hey, wait a minute, I could go into advertising, and that's basically what I wound up doing, going into advertising. So it was that really opened up doors for me. That really opened up a whole new world, and I said, "Wow, I could have the security of being in a profession, in a business, a professional business, without and still be creative, still do creative things, still write and film commercials and things like that." So when I changed my major, I think my parents were a little weary of it. They didn't quite understand it. But it was something that I needed to do. You always need to follow what you're good at and what you have a passion for. And, like you said, don't let anyone tell you, no, you can't do something. And so it's important that if you're going to go and do a job, at least try to find something that you like, you have a passion for. And so many people, there's so many statistics out there. They say, about 80% of people don't like their jobs, don't like their profession. And so I was lucky. I was able to, get into something that I really enjoyed. So, from there, I started writing books because, as I said, movies were my passion. So I, wrote 2 novels. I wrote a children's book. And so the 2 novels I wrote was, one was a science fiction thriller called The Human Factor. The next book I wrote was a horror story, kind of a horror thriller called The Grinning Man. And then I wrote, complete, 180. I decided to write a children's book, so I wrote a book called If I Had Superpowers. So all, by the way, available on Amazon, if I could do a cheap plug there. And I also created a character called the Grey Guardian, which is a graphic novel I'm working on. So, I have a few things in the fire, and I have a independent producer who's interested in maybe doing something with the character of Grey Guardian. So, it's definitely been interesting. So I think 2019 is going to be a really interesting year for me.
Well, first off, no cheap plugs. Shame on you.
Sorry.
I was going to do that when you mentioned it, but I didn't want to interrupt.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's your time. You can do whatever you want. And then our next question I was going to ask you, because you're a book writer, would you be interested in ghostwriting, number one? And have you ever wanted to write a book about disabilities, or have you wrote about someone with disabilities?
Actually, in The Grinning Man, part of that story is the main character is a woman. Her name is Felice, and she cares for her mother who suffers from Alzheimer's. And it's kind of it's kind of me weaving a little bit of my life and what happened with our family is my mother did develop Alzheimer's. So it's something that is very debilitating, not only for the person who has it and is going through it, but the family as well, because they require, it's a degenerative disease, so it requires, as it progresses, more and more and more care. So eventually, they wind up needing 24-hour care, and it's just something that's overwhelming to a family. So, whether it's Alzheimer's or autism or, there's so many, diseases and things that people suffer with. So I certainly have an understanding and empathy for people who go through, those, families who go through that, because, it's always a worry on your mind. So whether it's a parent or a child, and especially a child, as a parent having a child that has some kind of, debilitating disease or disability, where they're going to need care for the rest of their lives. As a parent, you always worry, what's going to happen to my child, when I'm gone, So, so I to answer your question, I answered it in a very long way, but yes, I did write about in The Grinning Man. There is several chapters in the beginning where the main character is dealing with someone who has this debilitating disease, and I just wanted to make people aware of it because back when I wrote the book, there wasn't much known about Alzheimer's. It was just kind of lumped in with, a person is old, they're senile, and that's what happens. And it couldn't be farther from the truth.
I don't know, a lot of people think I'm a walking disease, but,
I certainly didn't mean it that way. I mean, I have family members that, are autistic and everything. So, there are diseases and there are, disabilities. And, I think that, for families who are lucky never to go through something like that, they don't really understand. And, I'm sure you understand this more than anyone, is that people tend to lump you into some kind of category. And, it's just not something that, I guess what I'm trying to say is everyone has their own unique abilities, and, we should all learn to accept and appreciate it.
No, absolutely. And how do you feel about ghostwriting?
About ghostwriting? Well, I've been asked on several occasions to ghostwrite screenplays or books. It depends on the project and it depends on what it is. But, if it's something I know about and I could really devote my time to, I love the challenge. I love to take it on. But, I work full time. I do work in advertising. So whatever, sometimes I just don't have the time to do it. So, I hate to turn down projects, especially if something that's very worthy or worthwhile or something I would be very interested to do. But, sometimes there's just so many hours in the day. So with all my side projects and working full time and a family, it gets a little difficult sometimes. But, when I can squeeze them in, I do freelance and I do ghostwrite.
Well, the first thing I'm going to ask you is, would you be interested in ghostwriting in my book? And you mentioned you work in advertising. What type of advertising do you do?
I work. I have a full service agency, so we do just about anything from TV commercials, radio spots, print ads, web. You name it.
Well, if you're interested, I would love to work with you if that's a possibility.
I'm always open to exploring every possibility, and it really would be an honor to see if we could work that in, schedule something.
And would you be interested in ghostwriting the book of mine, or I know you mentioned you have all this stuff going on, just throwing it out there. Like an autobiography kind of thing? I guess a lot of people are telling me to write a book, but the thing is, I don't feel. Well, I can think, but that's a different story. But I think and feel. I can especially feel that I haven't really accomplished what I really wanted to do. Yes, I have how I came up with it, where I want to go, but I don't think that I'm there yet. But everyone else says, oh, you have a story, and so I'm thinking about hiring a ghostwriter like yourself and someone who's a storyteller to do a story that's up to this point and do part 2 later on.
Did you ever think about doing a documentary?
I thought about it.
'Cause, I mean, you're good on camera. You're used to it, right? You've been doing this for many years now, right? So I would think doing a documentary would be a lot easier, and probably get it could be done in stages. So you could do a documentary covering now, and then I'm sure there will be much greater things in your future. So I mean, it's something that you could do a part 1 and part 2.
It's a possibility. Hey, we'll see what happens, right?
Well, you've had a lot of interesting guests and everything, so we could certainly put some of your favorite guests. I know you had a few that are reoccurring guests, so I think a documentary would suit you very well. Would do very well.
Always a possibility, and there's other guess what I want to have back on the show, and they're like, one-time thing, or my agent's this, my agent's that, or some stupid excuse. But, they always say it's a one-time thing. I'm like, wow, was I really that bad? But whatever.
No, yeah, you know what? You can't take these things personally. I mean, I've worked on TV projects, where obviously behind the scenes, and we used to call them cookie cutter shows because they were things like for the Travel Channel or what have you, where it was just all standard format, nothing changed. It's the host saying this, doing this. It was just all. So we used to call them cookie cutter because it was just bang, 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 bang. So. And the personalities and the things that you have to deal with, when you watch the show, it looks polished and everything. That's the polished version. But, it's like a diamond. You see a diamond in a store, it's polished, it's beautiful, the presentation, but no one thinks about somebody had to dig it up, how dirty they got, they had to, transport it and all that stuff. So, don't take it personally because, in this business, especially when you're interviewing people and you're doing a show, you just got to roll with the punches. Do what you're doing. You're successful at it, so I wouldn't change a thing. Just keep doing what you're doing.
And my favorite thing, and by the way, I'm being sarcastic when I say this, my favorite thing is I used to not do permission forms. Now I do. So you're going to do the permission form, or we're not doing the interview. There's no ifs or buts. They're like, okay, I got to sign the permission form. And like a month, a day, a year later, hey, a while ago we did an interview. These are some of my favorite. I'm going to give you my top 5. I'm getting death threats. You're hurting my career. It's degrading to be with people like you. What? Take it down, I'm going to sue you.
Wow.
And there's a 5th one, some other bizarre one. I'm like,
well, who? So someone said they were getting death threats? So it's something that they said that they probably shouldn't have, and then they want to blame you?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe that's why they're getting death threats. That sounds so ridiculous. No, I mean, look, if you're going to do an interview and you say something stupid, own up to it, apologize or whatever you got to do, or don't, or say, hey, that's how I feel. If you don't like it, that's, too bad. But grow a spine. I mean,
I'll give you an example. You said grow a spine. I'll give you an example. Own up to it. People are like, yo, you should go to Israel. It's really nice over there. And if I want to see sand, I just go to the damn beach.
And people didn't like that, huh?
No, I really don't care. I walk to the beat of my own drum. I say what's on my mind. I'm like the rest of our CM Punk. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I have no filter. If it pops in my head, I'm going to say it. Maybe that's why people hate me, because I don't think before I speak. But I'm not going to, pussyfoot around or stick myself in a box or a bubble. He's like, well, I guess I have to be like this for the 24 hours so I don't offend anyone. No, you're going to accept me for who I am. If not, go make friends at the door. I don't care who you are.
Right. Hey, did you see those Golden Globes the other night, that award show?
I heard of them, but I didn't see it.
Most of them don't think before they speak, so, I'm probably taking that flack for that, but,
Didn't something happen? I saw a comment on the Golden Globes to say, oh, looks like someone ran out of safety pins, and then it was everyone #boobs. I'm like, what the hell is this?
I didn't hear that one. I heard that Jeff Bridges was having some kind of senior moment where he was just rambling and no one was understanding what the hell he was saying. And then Christian Bale thanked Satan for inspiration to play. And
actually, that was really funny.
Yeah, so so I mean, if he wants to go there, okay, but very weird, strange things. Apparently, when they have no filter or they say crazy things, it's okay. So I don't know who the standard bearer is, who sits there with a checklist saying, okay, what you said was good and what you said is bad. But if we live our lives like that, nobody would say anything anymore, right?
No, absolutely. And I give you a perfect example. Dan, we got to take a quick commercial break. And you know how people ramble on. People say I have diarrhea in the mouth. I guess I do sometimes. But there's you're a wrestling fan, right?
Yeah, in the past I haven't really kept up with it in recent years, but my grandfather was a big wrestling fan. He loved Bruno Sammartino, all those old-time wrestlers and everything, and I used to watch with him, and I used to watch like in the 70s and everything when they had Chief Strongbow and I forget the guy, that manager that used to have what was it, like the Grand Wizard or something like that, and Captain Lou Albano, right?
Yeah, Mario.
Yeah, right. Jimmy Superfly Snuka, right? And do you remember him?
Unfortunately, and I also remember George Steele. Don't get me started on him.
Right. Roddy Rowdy.
Yeah, he was one of the best.
Yeah,
and most recently, I got to meet Mean Gene Okerlund before he passed away.
Oh, right. Wow.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, how'd that go?
Oh, absolutely. It was great. I walked over and I said, hey, it's Keith. It's nice to see you. Yeah, you may not remember, but a while ago, we talked about doing an interview on my talk show. You said you don't do Skype. He says, well, you're here right now. Why not we do it right now? But unfortunately, I was there with my brother, number one. And number two, I don't do interviews in person. I want to, but I'm not at that point yet. Number two. And number three, I didn't have my camera on me. So I said, maybe later. And, stupid me, a couple months later, he passes away. But I'm just happy I got the chance to meet him. I got his autograph. He's one of the best, hands down, one of the best ring announcers. And after meeting him, he's inspired me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Look, we all get inspiration from somewhere, so take it and run with it. So, how exactly did he inspire you?
To be honest, I'm a big wrestling fan. I was always a fan of Guru Monsoon, Bobby the Brain Heenan. They're always going to be one of my favorite announced teams. And I'm trying to think without hurting myself. As a ring time, I can't even speak. Blah, 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 blah. So, as someone who does broadcast announcing, there's always going to be people. But the one I always look forward to saying, oh, today on WWE Raw, we're going to have Old School. And I want, please have Mean Gene. Please have Mean Gene. And Mean Gene will come out and do, the announcing, the interviews. And he was someone I always wanted to build a friendship with and always have on the show. And he does something about him I really liked, and it's really influenced me. So I tried to mirror my style after him. not trying to be a carbon copy, but I'm trying to just mirror that. And then when I do announcing, like what I'm doing right now, I like Bobby Heenan, so I try to do sarcastic remarks. I like Corey Graves. He's a wise ass.
Right.
But there's some other people that I try to mirror myself after. But you don't want to be a carbon copy, that's the thing.
Yeah, you work in your own style.
Now, before I have another brain fart, we're going to have a commercial break. And when we come back, I'm going to talk to you about HBO and also social media.
Okay, all right.
Vanessa Liner. Adrian Lotto. Hi, Cynthia Bastinet. I'm Sonia Fisher. This is Shane Smith.
My name is Alexandra Foley. My name is Amelia Clover.
Hi, I'm Amy Linden.
Hi, I'm Anita Nicole Brown.
Meg Green.
Hi, my name is Asata Caldwell. Hi, everybody. I'm Brooke Percy.
Hi, I'm Brinford. Hi, I'm Casey Dunn.
Hi, it's Cassandra Kavinsky.
Hi, I'm Christina Briza.
I'm Cindy Hogan. I'm Courtney Sinello.
Hi, I'm Daisy.
My name is Deborah Jane East.
Hi, my name is Danielle Marcia.
Hi, everyone. I'm Victoria London.
Hi, I'm Heather Crona.
Hi, I'm Heather Callahan Stevens.
Hi, I'm J. Nicole Ralph.
My name is Jamie Petrell.
My name is Turi.
My name is Julia Brankovich.
Kathleen Wills.
Kimberly Amato.
Hi, my name is Laura Putton.
Hi, I'm Laura Chapanis.
Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa Damas.
This is Michelle Mupo, a.k.a. Fuchsia.
I'm Rachel Rivera.
Hi, my name is Sarah Joy Mount. Hi, I'm Susan Winder.
Hi, everyone. This is Venus Leone.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Tanner. Hi, I'm Stephanie Herrera, and I was just on the Keith Andrew Network. It was tons of fun. We used up all our time and then some. I really recommend this show, and try to be a guest on Keith's show. It was super fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 570. I'm here as a good friend of mine. Now, with that being said, we're 8 minutes and counted. We're going to jump right into it, do something a little different on time. So a lot of people know this whole spiel and everything, blah, 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 blah. So you mentioned during the break that you corrected me, but you never worked for HBO, but you did pitch some other shows. And out of curiosity, what shows did you pitch to HBO?
Well, okay. I worked in advertising in the late 90s, early 2000s. Branded entertainment was something that was like the buzzword. So, and basically what that is you take a client, an advertiser, like a Coca-Cola or McDonald's, and you create a show that they could sponsor, and something that would fit within their brand and the image that they want to project. So if it's something like a Red Bull, this is probably going to be like a sports show or something like that. So I got together with a very big ad agency in Manhattan. I'm not going to plug them or anything, but we got together. They started a big separate division where they were just kind of focusing on branded entertainment. So I came to them with several shows. One of them was and this is back before it became popular. Now there's a lot of shows that have popped up since. Like if you went to Comic-Con, any of the Comic-Cons, you'll see everyone doing some kind of show where they're interviewing, actors and artists and things that have to do with the whole fanboy culture. But before that started, I had come up with a show. It was called Gotham at Night, and it was basically sort of like a little takeoff of the Tonight Show, only focusing on the fanboy, world, So covering sci-fi movies and comics and all that stuff. So that was one, and there was another show. It was actually a zombie show, which they turned down. Kind of like The Walking Dead, and this is long before The Walking Dead came out. So we did there were several shows that we pitched, and they came very close to doing with, and there were some that we pitched to the Sci-Fi Network. There was one in particular where it was sort of like a reality show where we followed people who dressed as real life superheroes. And we almost sold that one, and then the lawyers, we were ready to sign and everything, and the lawyers came and said, hey, wait a minute. If one of these people gets hurt trying to, like stop a robbery or something, or gets killed, we're going to get sued. And I said, yeah, but there's a show called Cops where the cops are out there and they can get killed and everything. And said, well, that's different. That's their job. I said, well, we're not telling these people to go out and do this. They're already doing it. They're already out there dressed up as superheroes. But so those were some of the things that we had planned, and just that's show business. Sometimes it goes, sometimes it doesn't.
No, absolutely. Now, my next question I was going to ask you is social media. Can social media make you or break you? Was everything you accomplish, from pitching your ideas to writing your books to being an artist, does that help you get work, or does that kind of tie your hands?
It's you know what? I wish I had it when I was just starting out. The possibilities, the people you reach. We wouldn't be doing this interview today if without social media, right? So, you could definitely network like never before. You could reach people that before were unreachable. You could tweet celebrities, and social media was just kind of starting back when I was pitching, some of these shows, and I was able to get decent actors and personalities, well known, just by networking through social media. So, like I said, if I had this when I was fresh out of college or in college and just starting, who knows, who knows where I would have been. But no, I think it's a great help. I definitely encourage anyone who is in the creative field to use social media in any way you can. It's a great tool.
No, absolutely. Now, before we wrap up, I do have one more question for you.
Sure.
How does someone become a non-profit? Do you have to do paperwork, or do you just say you're non-profit?
Well, it depends, I think, on the state, but to be a non-profit, you do have to file for it. So, if you're not sure how to do it, there are accountants out there that can help you. But we're talking about social media, but with the internet, with Google, you could find out. You could go onto YouTube and just find a how-to, start a nonprofit, and there's like hundreds of videos that walk you through exactly step by step how to do it. But starting a nonprofit isn't difficult. You just got to fill out the right paperwork.
The reason I'm bringing it up is this June, I gotta plug it. This June, June 15th, is my 6th anniversary. I started I think on the 3rd or 10th, but I know the 15th I already requested that day off. The 15th is a Saturday. I'm gonna do something for my talk show. Either I'm gonna hang out with my family and we're gonna go out for dinner, or I'm gonna invite some people to hang out. I wanted to do an event to celebrate 6 years. I know 10 years is more of a labyrinth, more exciting, but I'm not going to sit around with 4 years. It was my thumb up my ass. It was saying, well, I guess I'm not going to do anything. I just got to stay here and wait for 4 years.
Right.
A lot of people are like, well, it's 6 years, it's 7 years, 8 years, you're doing something, and this is really important to you. Why don't you ask people who are, trying to think nonprofits and say, do you want to sponsor you? Do you want to help you? Do you want to do this? And I'm like, oh, that sounds like fun. There's things I want to do, like a special event, but it's kind of like, then you mentioned there's paperwork, so I don't think I'm at that point yet. But it's kind of like, yes, this is what I want to do until the day I'm dead, but at the same time, I still feel like I'm not at that level yet.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, when you get to that level, being a nonprofit, it's just the paperwork is really, for tax purposes. Because a nonprofit, certain nonprofits, you don't pay tax. You're not, or the kind of level of taxes that everyone else pays. So it depends on what kind of nonprofit you are. But when you get to that level, like I said, I mean, there's so many different things you can look up on YouTube. They give you step by step how to do it, and all the you have LegalZoom, which you can get all the legal paperwork and everything, and it's pretty cost effective. It's not because if you go to like a lawyer, like if you want to incorporate or start an LLC, they'll charge you like $1,000. You can do it for like $150 on some of these like LegalZoom sites and stuff like that. So do your research when you're ready, and Google stuff, and if you or you have friends who know a good accountant, they could just probably just do it for you, and no problem.
No, absolutely. Now, I do have a couple questions for you off the air, but wrapping up, number one, how can people follow you on social media? Are you on LinkedIn, Twitter, Stage 32, Instagram?
Yes, all the above. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram. Yes, Stage 32, and I think that's about it.
And my last question for you, and you can be completely honest, when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your first reaction? And after being a guest, how you feel now, and would you still recommend it to other people?
Oh yeah, I would definitely recommend it to other people. When you first asked me, I said I was just thinking, who, me? I don't know how exciting a guest I'll be, but I was very honored. It's not like I'm some big name celebrity, so I was a little taken aback, but it's a great experience. I thank you so much for the opportunity. Yes, of course, I would definitely recommend it to anybody out there. You would be foolish not to get interviewed by one of the greatest interviewers on the internet today. He's going to be the next Larry King.
I hope so. Now, with that being said...
Definitely. Don't say hope so. Say I know so.
Well, this is what I want to do until I die, so we just take it one step at a time.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, 6 years you're doing it, right? So, that's an accomplishment in itself. So, you keep at it, and like I said, you'll be the next Larry King. Mark my words. See, write this day down. I predicted it. He's going to be the next Larry King.
Well, I say Bill Maher, but
Okay, hey, whatever, even better.
Now, stay tuned. I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But wrapping up, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it, and I thank you very much. And it's again great honor, and I thank you so much.